Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with us here on this Wednesday morning. Well, northeastern Montana is going to get downright cold. It's already cold at this hour. It's only going to get worse. 11 a.m. this morning, we do have a wind chill advisory that's going to be going into effect for this area. Really, newborn livestock. I mean, it's calving season. That's going to be a significant risk in this area. Later in your weather forecast, there is wind, and then there is central Montana wind. As Keely just told us, you will be chasing the garbage can down the street here today. We're looking at sustained winds 35 to 40, gusts over 75, might even see the car leave the driveway. More on your forecast coming up shortly. And talk a little bit about moisture in the region. That's kind of been the biggest battle when it comes to trying to get this crop cut and hauled out.
Yeah. Moisture, we had good moisture early. We had that heat that came along and kind of got some things ripened up.
Checking out our latest USDA crop progress report, both Prairie and Roosevelt counties seeing some reports there, unseasonably warm conditions continuing, and really that's been a big talking point all throughout central Montana. A lot of melted snow cover, so in other words lack thereof, which potentially could play into the winter wheat health. Temperatures are on the rise. We are still, however, tracking an ice jam in Teton County. Town of Choteau seeing a little bit of water on the roadways. If you need assistance due to this ice jam, make sure you call that number. That's along Spring Creek. We'll have more on your extended forecast coming up shortly. We had a trampoline in the parking lot on Saturday.
People were scared those were like tower parts.
Yeah,
like
I thought
TV tower parts.
that's the first thing that came into my mind when I rolled up to work and I saw these like metal pipes and tubes. I'm like, oh gosh, our satellite dish is like
just a trampoline.
Or the antenna like blew down, but no, yeah, it was just a trampoline from a neighboring. So if you're missing a trampoline and you live up around the station here, the parts are in our
we got you
lot.
covered, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's salvageable. I'm just going to say that. A lot to talk about today, so let's get right to it. Field work forecast this weekend about 50-50. A couple lingering showers on Saturday is going to make it a little bit tricky to get out in the field with today's rain. Burn restrictions still remain in place for most of the state. We're tracking another day of very strong winds, and a cold front is going to drop through later this afternoon and evening, so we're tracking a very tight pressure gradient. In turn, very, very strong winds today and colder air moving in, which will turn rain into snow. We'll have all the details on this incoming system very shortly. Story tomorrow is a cold front is going to drop through. Really not going to do much in the way of temperatures. It's just going to keep those winds a little bit gusty at times. Mountain snow likely, but pretty minimal accumulations, maybe about 1 to 3 inches over most of the mountain ranges. Up next in your weather forecast, Old Man Winter is on track to crash the party this weekend. We're looking at cloudy skies right now in Great Falls, rain showers moving through Helena. Fairly clear along the high line, but a brisk 35 degrees. Here's what we're tracking over the next couple of days. Rain and mountain snow today. That's going to transition to snow on Saturday. Heavy snow likely by Sunday. Some of the impacts from our incoming storm. Snow is going to be a big one. A little windy, pretty darn cold, and travel impacts as you head into the work week. Your forecast is next. Have you got your walk down yet?
Right. I was trying to figure out the exact angle. Like, do I walk this way?
It all depends. You
do
turn
I walk
and
this way?
Do you see the stop sign pulling into the lot here this morning? Oh my gosh, that thing was like, it was like,
well, okay,
it was spazzing.
I put my garbage out
wind.
yesterday just in anticipation
Is it
of
down
garbage.
the road?
It's down the road, man.
Garbage can forecast coming up.
2:30 this morning.
I've got it coming up. All right, on the weather scene this morning, sustained winds reading in at 31 miles an hour in Great Falls.
Now, here's your Storm Tracker weather forecast with Jason Laird.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for spending your morning with us. Well, an overnight cold front has left a very, very cold start to the day here. Looking at 2 below in northeastern Montana. 8 degrees right now in Great Falls, 16 in Lewistown. There's a look at that cold front right now. With that colder air settling in even still this morning, a couple of light flurries not out of the question. We're seeing a few light flurries right now in Great Falls. Those flurries will continue to kind of transfer down into south central Montana. Very minimal, though, in the way of accumulation through the remainder of the day Tuesday, with everything kind of tapering off here late into the evening. So snow accumulation, maybe an additional 10th in Great Falls. A little bit better chance, though, toward Lewistown down into Billings, maybe up to a half an inch, but very, very minimal with the passage of that system. It is going to keep us very cold today, though. 21 in Great Falls, 31 in the capital, single digits as we head toward northeastern Montana. Teens along the high line as well. Tonight, one more cold one, looking at single digits all throughout north central Montana. About 6 degrees tonight in Great Falls, 10 in the capital, and falling below 0 again in northeastern Montana. That colder air is going to kind of remain camped out along the mountains. So in other words, that colder air mass is going to kind of transition to more of a stationary front. In other words, we've got warmer air over the mountains in western Montana, much colder temperatures in eastern Montana. That air mass really isn't going to go too terribly far on Wednesday. It's pretty much just going to split the difference. So slightly warmer temperatures lingering in western Montana. Still pretty cold, though, in eastern Montana as things play out on Wednesday. That will take daytime highs tomorrow. Slightly warmer for central Montana, 35 in Great Falls, 33 in the capital. But northeastern Montana staying in the 20s and teens there as that colder air kind of remains planted. By Thursday, we're going to start getting a little bit windy as our next weather system moves in. With that wind and the onset of high pressure, we're going to see 45 in Great Falls. Still a little bit cold, though, in northeastern Montana. Here's how that system's going to play out. Big high pressure ridge. Anytime we refer to a ridge of high pressure, you notice big bump in the pressure levels there. That's going to allow for nice, warm, dry air to camp out over Montana. Following that system, though, we are going to see what we call a low-pressure trough. All that is a consistent area of low pressure here. That's what that little black line means. That system's going to kind of crunch down that ridge a little bit. Not going to do much in the way of temperatures, but as the weekend plays out, late into the weekend, it is going to allow for the onset of a little bit of Pacific moisture to move back in. That will likely bring a dose of moisture our way for the first part of this next week as that area of low pressure moves in. Here's how all of that translates over the next 7 days. Sitting at 21 today, a couple of morning flurries tapering off as the day progresses. High pressure is going to rebuild Thursday into Friday. That's going to allow for some wind and more sunshine. We're going to stay pretty nice through the weekend before that moisture moves in. Here in the capital, looking at 31 today, a couple of light flurries possible. More sunshine, though. A little windy on Thursday with nice temperatures taking us through the weekend before a couple of flurries likely move back in on Monday. Although not quite as impressive as last season, this year's snow couldn't have come at a better time.
That snowpack was actually quite beneficial.
And despite the obvious, snow does more than just provide moisture.
Well, essentially it insulates the plants from the cold. It also insulates the plants from the winds we get here in this part of Montana.
A good example of this can be found at the Western Triangle Ag Research Center near Conrad.
Last year's winter pea plots, where we didn't have snow cover when it turned real cold, some of them didn't do as well as the ones that were covered with snow when we got real cold.
Along with that, snow and cold can also cause a delay in plant growth.
The plant needs to grow and produce flowers,
which in turn affects insect populations. Now, according to entomologist Dr. Reddy with the Montana State University Ag Extension Office, if a plant grows more slowly and doesn't produce flowers, some insect populations can decline because of the inability for them to feed and lay eggs. Another aspect to take into consideration is the temperature.
The wheat midge, for example, the diapause larvae goes into the soil. So if it is extreme temperatures, that can kill those populations, but may not be a sawfly because sawfly diapause larvae is inside the wheat stubble. It's well protected, and also it produces certain chemicals to protect from around the body.
And although the harsh elements may have some impact on insects this season, the greatest benefit from this past winter was the timely snowfall. In Great Falls, I'm Jason Laird, MTN News.